She's nice enough not to be losing her shit about it, but not nice enough not to write into a podcast, which I respect.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great.
Yes, great. It's our first Q&A.
First Q&A of 2023.
Very good. Look at us
It's a big
finishing
deal.
each other's sentences.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Okay. I gotta say, the Shandies, I know I say this over and over again, but man, do they deliver on their questions.
They do. We just have a never-ending river of questions.
It is, and it's so, I feel so flattered and honored.
Yeah.
And also, it goes to show that you shouldn't fear things necessarily that you don't know, because I was really afraid when we started this podcast that we would just, no one would ask us questions. And
that's classic Charlene, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's get going. So this first question is from Anonymous.
Starting it off right.
Mm-hmm. Dear Shandy, I am a 29-year-old female and I'm dating a male, 33, and we live in a large city. We just started talking again recently, but we have a past together. In the past, he told me that we could not be in a relationship unless we slept together first. So I initially told him that we had to be together if we were going to have a physical relationship because it was moving slowly and he seemed to have commitment issues. I generally don't like talking about attachment styles, but he seems to have an avoidant attachment. My reason for telling him that was to get clarity on what he wanted from dating me, but I wasn't expecting his reaction to be that we had to sleep together before it could be official. Is that a normal expectation in the dating environment? That was the reason we did not work out the first time, but he reached out to me again recently. We talked on and off for 6 months previously. I like him and we have good conversations and there's a lot of attraction there. Are his statements a red flag or an orange flag? I think I am more conservative than the average person in modern dating, but I also don't think my expectations are that difficult. Thank you for all the great advice every week. Best regards, Anonymous. And then she followed up with one more thing because I wanted to be 100% sure about, for us to be together, that the semantics of that was indeed boyfriend-girlfriend.
Right.
So exclusive
Committed.
boyfriend-girl. Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to be 100% sure. She added some more background. We matched on a dating app before our first date. I already knew him because we went to the same school. However, we were acquaintances then and weren't that close. I like this question.
Look, I'm going to give full disclosure here.
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
I
won't get into a serious relationship without sleeping with a girl.
Okay.
I just won't.
You want to know that it's there.
Of course.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Look, unless you're dating in an extremely religious environment, you know, that's the exception. But I don't think that should be a thing that's held out. Because then it becomes a thing. It becomes an elephant in the room as opposed to something that just should naturally happen.
Well, and I know what you mean. It becomes used as a sort of tool.
Yeah, it's a weapon.
Yeah, but they're kind of weaponizing it against each other in a way. I sort of feel like they're both holding something, like they're both holding their leverage to themselves.
No, she pointed a gun at him and he pulled out a knife. It's different. He's defending himself.
I think that this is an interesting question because it's obviously going to be case by case. And like she said, she feels like she's maybe more conservative than most people in the modern dating climate. But I'm going to say, as a woman, in my dating days, I also would have wanted to make sure that the sexual chemistry was there before committing. But I also think that there are many people who want to feel commitment and the safety of that exclusivity and, you know, that, I don't know, that bond before getting physical. So
but
it's
they haven't had one date or 2 dates or 3 dates. This is a long situation and they have history.
Yeah.
So there's been time to get to know each other. If she doesn't know him well enough now, then what's the song? If you don't know, I've done this song before. I shouldn't do it again. I can't repeat songs. I can't start doing that. We haven't been around long enough.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that they have been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of interacting, a lot of hanging out.
There's history.
And there's still not enough there to sleep with each other. Then it becomes, there's got to be another thing happening. There's got to be a reason. Like she's like, I have a policy. I don't have sex until marriage, or I have a religious thing, or some other situation.
In which case that needs to be her own deal breaker. And I think like Anonymous, I think if that is your requirement, you need to be steadfast in that, because she seems to be wanting to know what the norm is and like is this normal? Is this okay? And I think they're both normal. That's an annoying answer. It's normal for him to be like, I want to make sure that we're sexually compatible before I commit. And she is well within her right to be like, I want to make sure we're committed before we have sex.
Yeah. I mean, they're both right, but he's maybe a little more right.
Well, yeah, this gets dicey. I mean, I will say that, we come from similar backgrounds and I agree with you, but it's very possible that she's like really, it takes a lot for her to feel comfortable having sex with someone,
Okay. How much comfort?
Okay.
How much more comfort? How much more time? How much
Well, okay, so this is my next thought then, when you were saying they have enough information, right?
Yeah.
You could argue that he also has enough information to know whether or not what they would have is something he would be interested in committing to. Do you know what I mean? Like he could give her a little bit more encouragement and more of a promise and just something that could make her feel like she wasn't going to sleep with him and then he was going to pump and dump.
Well, now you're
such a crass term. I can't believe I said it's too early in the day.
The pump and dump works better here than it does with stocks. That's brilliant. It is a pump and dump.
Wait, pump and dump is from stocks?
Oh, for God's sake. Yes.
I thought pump and dump was a sex thing.
Well, now it is. There wasn't before. I honestly don't know if anyone's ever done this before. Pump and dump means like you pump some stock up that is garbage.
Yeah.
Like tell everybody it's great and you get everybody to buy it. And then you sell yours when the stock goes up and then everyone gets screwed.
That sounds very illegal.
It is illegal.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a pump and dump. It's not like pump and dump doesn't have a good connotation.
Yeah.
It's not like like a policeman comes, you did a pump and dump. You're like, oh, thank you, sir. And a good day to you as well. Anyway, a policeman doesn't come to arrest you for a pump and dump. It's obviously a detective in the FBI. But my point is that this could be, as you said, and I didn't want to go here, but it could be a nefarious situation.
Yes.
It's unlikely, but it's possible that he's like, I just want to really sleep with this girl and nothing I do seems to work. And when I do sleep with her, there's a good chance I'm not interested in the relationship. Well, I don't think that's the case, because I want to be fair and give the benefit of the doubt.
Yes. Okay, finish your thought and then I need to leap in here.
Okay, if that is the case, though, then she should read that at this point. And I'm not putting it on her. I'm not saying she's dumb or she's blind to this. I'm just saying there comes a point where it's like you gotta own this. Like if you think there's a chance that this guy is only gonna sleep with you and then or only wants to sleep with you, and then the rest is he doesn't care. He's out. Then you should, by this point in time, have a feel for that.
That's a good point. You're making a great point, which is that already shows such a negative spin on what she perceives him to be and what their dynamic is. If she feels she needs to hold out sex as as her leverage, really.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you on that front. But just to play devil's advocate, are you done talking for a second?
I just wanted to add to the point that there's no worse way to start a brand new relationship than with distrust. And I feel like there's a seed of distrust here between them. Like there's a distrust of motivation.
Yeah. And that could be something she was raised with and how she was taught, like how sex for her is more something that she can use and not something that she's just going to go and enjoy. That's what stands out to me. Is like, do you want to sleep with him? Like, I'm not getting a vibe from this email. It's like she really wants a boyfriend. She really wants to be together. She really wants the commitment. It's like, I'm not going to lie. Like when we started dating, I wanted to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Like the chemistry was through the roof. And
how could you not? I mean, it's undeniable.
But yeah, it was, pheromonal and
so hot.
Full.
Oh yeah.
It was something that we both wanted to explore. It's not like
I wanted to explore.
It was something only the man wants to explore and the woman needs to like play her cards right. So I think I don't love that perspective, but I only want to add to this, devil's advocate, before we wrap. And then you can defend yourself. I'm going to throw you under the bus right now because you once told me about a girl that you went on several dates with and you 100% only wanted to have sex with her and you never did end up having sex with her.
I didn't 100% only want to have sex with her. I like 80% only wanted to have sex with her.
But you were pretty sure that when you did start having sex, like you didn't like her enough to want to be boyfriend, girlfriend. You just really wanted to have sex with her.
Well, it became like a goal. Like it became like a hurdle that I wanted to leap over.
So interesting point then. Do you think that her withholding it in such a specific way, because I remember when you told me the story, it did feel specific.
Creates more desire on his part.
Yeah, like, do you think that it became this hurdle that you wanted to overcome because it was being withheld from you, and it started to distract from you even wanting the relationship at all?
Yeah, it messes with your head. Men are animals. I mean, and women are too. I mean, people always say men are these horn dogs. Women are also, there's not spoken enough. But on the surface, men are worse, aesthetically. But I'm just saying that there becomes a physical problem when a woman holds out on a man who is a sexually driven person.
Yeah, and I have a strategic.
And he starts like, things start boiling up, and he's just like, is this a game? Is she trying to hurt me? Is this some sort of strategy?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really getting hornier and hornier. I'm getting very angry and very upset. Nothing good comes of that. It starts creating a real wound in the burgeoning relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that it's not her fault that she wants to wait for quite a long time. I'm not judging her at all. That's totally her prerogative. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that a man with a healthy sexual appetite should be made to wait around for her to decide what magical day is the day when he gets the sexes.
It is kind of...
That was poorly inarticulate.
When he gets the sexes.
Well, that was poorly inarticulate. Means articulate. That's not what I meant. That was poor. It's just poor.
Yeah, I think, not to cast doubt on this one so early in the episode, but to me, this already is soured because there's already this power dynamic.
Elephant in the room.
Yes, this thing where there's a sort of lack of trust. It's like they're both holding like I said, their leverage to themselves, waiting for the other to give in. It feels already like too calculated.
I agree.
The ship has already sailed for when they would have just had sex the first time because they both really wanted it and it felt right.
Yes. And again, we have to be clear here. This is not a third, fourth date situation. They're in deep on this one.
Yeah.
Figuratively.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what
literally.
we can gather, it wasn't super detailed in their history. She said that they had a past, and in the past, he had told her.
This feels like, this doesn't feel like a moment in time.
Yeah,
this feels like a stretch.
I agree.
There's been a while here. She may get to the point where she has to back out of this, or he may get to the point where he has to back out of it, but someone's got to make a move. Either she's got to sleep with him or someone's got to walk, because this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah. And I touched on it, but that girl that you really wanted to sleep with, you never did end up sleeping with her, and you eventually just lost interest.
I lost interest. I felt bad about it. I felt dirty. I felt like I felt like the whole thing was sour to the point where I didn't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
I felt like I was doing a bad thing, which I kind of was. I mean, you can look at it however you want.
No, I mean, I think what people appreciate most is the honesty, Andy. That's your job here. You wanted the sexes.
I wanted the sexes. And I never got it. And to this day, I have to be honest, it is one of the fish that got away. I'm a little disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, you've obviously exercised all my fish that have got away.
I've wiped the slate clean.
Yeah, all the fish that have gotten away are like, they're sitting on a boat now in a pile flapping around. I don't care because of you. You're the whale.
Okay, Anonymous, good luck. There is no right or wrong or normal here.
Yeah.
But if that is your preference, it's your desire, then stick with it and understand, at least knowing this man's perspective, that might not be for everyone.
No.
Yes.
I think
and also this woman's perspective, because I agree with you that for me, from my dating days,
I think there's got to be a pump or a dump.
I swear I have heard pump and dump used in sexual context before.
Well, you know who can help us with this? The Shandys.
That's true. All right. This next question is from Julia. Dearest Shandy.
Oh, I'll take that.
I'm 23-year-old from Salt Lake City and dreadfully romantically inexperienced, but recently, largely thanks to listening to your podcast, I've felt inspired to change that.
Oh.
I'm writing to you in December, and I think my New Year's resolution will be to break the seal, as you've advised people like me in the past. For years, I've been on the apps rather passively, more for entertainment than anything, but this past week, when I was asked on not one but 2 Hinge dates, I thought I probably shouldn't turn them down on account of it not being 2023 yet. So I swallowed my nerves and agreed to meet one on Wednesday, then the other on Saturday. Let's call them Wednesday and Saturday. Both are men around my age, and coincidentally, both of them moved here relatively recently. So as a reminder, she's 23. Mm-hmm. When Wednesday, the day, came around, I messaged Wednesday, the guy, to make sure we were still on. And he let me know that he'd just flown back to North Carolina until after Christmas due to a family emergency. I wished him well, obviously, and told him I'd still be here after Christmas, despite feeling like he was probably lying. To be fair, I have no real reason to believe he was lying unless it's suspect that he didn't cancel until I touched base, but I'm always skeptical of the excuses people use to get out of first meetings. Like, my stepbrother was once dating a girl who promised to come around numerous times, but without fail, her car broke down, or she got stuck at work. We never did meet her.
No.
Of course, cars do break down and families do have emergencies. I would never properly accuse someone of lying without cause, and I don't intend to hold my inkling against Wednesday. I'm still totally open to meeting him after Christmas if he follows up. Initially, I just shrugged off the rain check because I was more excited about Saturday anyway. The question of whether or not he was lying has only stuck with me enough to write into a podcast about, because today is Saturday and I had to cancel on my date because I woke up with a terrible cold. Naturally, now I'm worried that Saturday the guy thinks I lied to get out of meeting him. I mean, one can't help but feel like this is cosmic payback for thinking the worst of Wednesday, who could very well be sitting by his grandmother's deathbed as we speak. So that's the story of how I went from 2 dates to 0. And while I'd welcome advice, that's not necessarily what I'm looking for. I'd be surprised if you disagreed with my current game plan, which is to reschedule with both guys when I'm well and they're available. What I'd really like to hear from you before I venture further into the wild world of dating is if my suspicions and worries are somewhat realistic and normal or exceedingly pessimistic. Do people lie to get out of dates? If so, what's the statistical likelihood that I've been lied to? Best Julia.
So this is speaking
What an
to my
email.
heart.
Yeah, I knew you'd love this. The statistical.
She wants statistics. I'm going to give statistics.
Okay.
It depends. There's a lot of variables here. A lot of variables.
Yeah.
Has the person been hard to pin down for a long time to get a date? You know, was it really fast? Was it like, hey, let's go on a date? You're like, yeah, let's go on a date.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of variables, but let's say plain vanilla. Like, forget about all the variables.
Yeah.
All else being equal.
Yeah.
I would say if someone makes a very kind of last minute excuse about not going on a date, 35% of the time it's bullshit.
I was going to say 50.
Okay, so we're two pretty bright people. So let's call it 40.
40.
Let's call it.
I think
42
it's close.
and a half.
I think I'm being too pessimistic.
42 and a half.
Especially since I actually very rarely lie. Honestly, if in this kind of situation, I go out of my way to tell the truth. Sort of like I've never faked an orgasm. Like I just don't think it helps anyone
no,
to.
You're good. You don't lie.
Yeah.
But when you do lie, whoa, boy, you are good.
I could say the same about you. Do you think it's being pessimistic to assume people are lying? I just think it's kind of this social.
No, I think you're
thing
a little.
that everyone does.
Like a little north. As I said, I think in the middle. I think we're probably around 40%.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because maybe I was being too nice. But yeah, it's very common for people to lie about this.
Yeah.
Very, very common.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take it super personally. Maybe the person met someone else in the interim, or they had a better date. They had a date they were like, trying to get for weeks. And finally the person said yes. And they only could do Wednesday. So they're like, okay, I got a family emergency.
Yeah.
It happens. Generally speaking, I find personally that the excuses where someone's dying, those are usually true.
Yes.
Because you have to be
so
a
extreme.
real bastard to do that. And you have to really have no faith in karma or any cosmic justice. You have to just be a bad person.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I actually once, this was to get out of rehearsal. My grandmother had died.
And you use that for like 2 years to get out of things. Oh, sorry. I just keep going.
No, I was going to say that the director of the production I was in wouldn't let me go. It's like he thought I was lying.
Oh.
And I would never use that reason lightly.
That means that he was a bad person. That means that he was capable of doing that. Only someone who would be capable of doing that would be someone who would accuse you of lying about it.
I mean, I had a fit. Like, let me tell you, I ended up getting my way.
You can't. When you
I almost quit. I was ready to quit the production because I was not missing my grandmother's funeral.
It's the ultimate ace in the hole. When you pull that card, it's over.
Yeah.
That's the nuclear option.
Yeah.
People have to believe you. You can't be, and if you want to be that person who's by accident, you say your grandmother died twice, you may end up being that person. You're a very bad person.
I would never do that.
No, not you. I'm saying a person in general. Anyway, my point is that aside from the family member dying, which is almost always true, a lot of these are just excuses, and it's normal. People make excuses. A lot of things come up.
Yeah,
and you just
sometimes nothing comes up. I'm only going to speak from experience,
especially you just get cold feet.
Yeah, especially post pandemic, because I feel like the pandemic caused me to really get in touch with my introverted side even more than I already was. Like I already had some social anxiety, and that's been exacerbated. And there are times where I'm going to meet a friend who I really love dearly, and I still am kind of like, I force myself to commit to it because I know I'll be happy I did, and I always am. But there's a moment earlier in the day where I'm like, oh, I wish I was just staying home. Like, I don't want to leave the house and go out there and be social.
And
like,
there's nothing malicious. There's nothing wrong with the person.
Yeah.
Maybe there weren't huge sparks from the little bit of information.
But imagine if you had that feeling and it's with someone that you have no real connect. Like they haven't met in person, so the obligation is far less. It's not the same as me canceling on a friend that I know.
Totally. Especially nowadays. Like in the old days, like to get a date set up took a lot more like actual logistics.
Yeah.
Now it's just like you swipe right, you say, hey, what's up?
It's easier to come by.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Blood
is cheap, as they say.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if they say that.
I don't know. After pump and dump, I'm like, is that what they say? Okay.
So there is we agreed, around a 40% chance that if someone bails on a first date, it's bullshit. They just don't want to do it. But the way to confirm that, because you can't assume, you got to be a positive person when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that I feel in life you need to be positive about. I believe negativity is not that bad a thing, except in dating. You got to have a positive outlook. It's a rough scene. It's like being in war. You can't be in war and be like, oh, this war sucks.
Yeah, we're definitely going to lose.
Yeah, you're in the war. You got to be positive. You got to feel good about winning. You got to have some
kind of hope or optimism, or else what else?
Or you're going to be cannon fodder. You're going to die. You're going to get killed. But you can't have that attitude. But my point is that if the first date fails, the way to know for sure, to get that probability up to 95%, is when the second time you try to make the date, something goes wrong. Like they either are very short in their texts, or they don't respond for a long time, or they make up another excuse. You know, my dog's got COVID, all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And then,
my dog's got COVID. I think we have to add to the mix that the COVID thing, there's a lot of sicknesses going around. Maybe that's, maybe 40% is too pessimistic. As we talk about it more, I feel like it should be more like 30.
I feel pretty good about 40%.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I feel pretty solid.
Okay, Julie, I hoped this discussion helped. And for what it's worth, we agree with you that so she said she could not picture us disagreeing with her about her step to reschedule those dates.
Absolutely reschedule.
And you are right about not thinking that we would disagree with you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. I was checking that. Reschedule the dates because you can't be negative about this. Remember, it's a 60% chance that the excuse is real. If they don't respond on the reschedule, then you know your answer. But maintain a positive outlook. A lot of people cancel dates. It's normal.
Especially during the holidays.
Especially during the holidays.
You have a hard time getting an email reply from someone you know really well during the holidays. Okay, moving on. So, Andy, I feel in today's modern day.
What do you feel?
You want to hear about my feelings?
Yeah.
Well, I just feel we live in a world where so many things are faked. Like you can claim to be an expert on just about anything online. It's like, I'm suddenly an expert in blah, blah, blah. And, just post content that would support that theory. It's all smoke and mirrors, it often feels like. But one realm in which you cannot fake it is language. No. You can either speak a language or you can't, and it can be proven right there on the spot. I actually think people who are multilingual, it's like a superpower. I'm amazed by that ability.
And there have been a couple of times in my life where I felt like I had a language down, and then I went to that country, and as soon as I opened my mouth, they started speaking English to me because I really didn't focus on pronunciation at all. And that's why I love Babbel so much, because they have speech recognition technology that helps you focus on pronunciation.
Yeah, because accent matters.
It's the most important thing. That's what people think. They're like, oh, I got the words, I got the grammar, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, you sound like an idiot.
So Babbel, in case you haven't heard of it, is an incredible language learning app. I love this app because not only is it super effective and just well organized, and their lessons are created by 150 language experts, not AI, which is nice. And all the dialogue is voiced by native speakers, also nice. But their lessons are really fun and engaging and can be done in as little as 10 minutes a day. And everyone has 10 minutes to spare. I'm sorry, you do.
Yeah, it's less than some dumb text conversation you have with your friend.
Yeah, or mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah. And it's a game. It feels like a game.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've won a game every day.
Yeah, it's legitimately fun, which let me tell you, I have been to language schools. I have gone to class every day. I find just doing 10 minutes a day is actually way more effective than going once a week for an hour because you're just sort of injecting.
It's like immersion.
Yeah.
It's like lazy immersion.
Yeah, it is lazy, but effective.
Yep.
So start your language learning journey today with Babbel.
Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/Dear Shandy.
That's babbel.com, babbel.com/Dear Shandy for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. Well, Andy, it's a new year.
It is a new year.
New beginnings. People might have resolutions. I'm sure for a lot of people, the resolutions are being healthier, eating healthier, maybe embarking on a certain diet, maybe vegetarian. Or
Sounds to
keto.
me like you're talking about Factor.
I could keep going. We love Factor. They deliver healthy, delicious, prepared meals that are never frozen to your door, and you store them in the fridge, and then you just heat them up on the stove or in the oven. There are days where you do not have time to cook. There just are.
There are also days where you don't want to cook.
Yeah.
Even if you have the time.
True. And so what better than a prepared meal in your fridge? They're prepared by not only chefs, but also approved dietitians. So the ingredients are strategically chosen to make sure you stay full throughout the day.
This is another one of those things where I'm just like, where was this when I was growing up? Affordable, easy, healthy, and delicious.
Yes, it actually is super delicious.
It is.
So head to factormeals.com/Shandy60 and use code Shandy60, that's Shandy60, to get 60% off your first box.
That's code Shandy60 at factormeals.com/Shandy60 to get 60% off your first box.
All right, this next question is from M as in the letter. Dear Shandy.
Sorry. Starting off on a good note.
Here's the situation. I'm 23 and my brother is 29 and recently divorced. The divorce was messy and my brother has had a very difficult year. Him and his wife were together for 7 years and I think he had some anxiety about celebrating the holidays alone. So I guess his solution to that was bringing my best friend to Christmas. I had no idea there was anything going on between them, so I was shocked. They walked in together as if it was totally normal and there was nothing to address or acknowledge.
Oh, that's weird.
I, not wanting to ruin Christmas for anyone, tried to ignore it and just have a good time. But as I saw them doing coupley things, it grew harder to hold in. So when they got up to say goodbye, I hugged my friend and told her how upset and hurt I was that she didn't even give me the courtesy of letting me know they were seeing each other. She texted me later apologizing, offering to stop seeing him. I told her there was no need for that. I just feel disrespected for not being told and then being ambushed at Christmas. My brother has also reached out to apologize and to set up lunch so that we could talk. I told him my availability and that I appreciate his apology. Since then, there has been no follow through or checking in from either of them. Obviously, I'm not over the crime yet, but I also don't feel like they've done enough to try to make things better. Overall, the efforts just feel weak to me. I love them both and would like to make amends with both of them. However, I'm still feeling disrespected and the trust is definitely damaged. I'm wondering if I am being self-centered or do I have a right to be as hurt and upset as I am? And how can I process these feelings and move forward? And how should I go about moving forward with each of them? Some more background info. My best friend is also 23 and female. Her and I have been best friends since our freshman year of college in 2017, lived with each other for 2 years and have never had any fights or falling outs and have pretty much always confided in each other to the highest regard. She is bisexual and broke up with her ex-girlfriend about 2 months ago. My brother and his ex were dating for 7 years and got married close to their 7th anniversary, January 2022. They separated in June and the divorce was finalized last month. Thanks and hope to hear some of your lovely wisdom. Best M.
Okay.
You know, I feel like this is like a variation on a theme that I mean, I guess I have personally brought up, but that feeling of feeling left out. And we've touched on this in other Q&As.
Extreme.
Yeah, the idea of you're the reason why two people know each other.
Yeah.
And then there's very little courtesy given to you.
And then you see like Instagram pictures of them having vacations.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the
They're like
Bahamas.
riding off into the sunset and they didn't even send you a text message.
That's like on the scale of 1 to 10 of that kind of thing, whatever that infraction is called. So we give it a name. I don't know. What is that?
We got to come up with a word for it.
Acquaintance theft?
Yeah,
I don't know what that
something,
is.
But that feeling is real, and I do think it's under discussed in
So
our
that's
society.
friend to friend to friend. That's the chain, right?
Yeah.
So I say I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
We're dealing here with a full 10 out of 10. We're talking about sister to brother, family to best friend.
Yeah.
Best friend. And it's not like you introduced them and they went off on their way and sort of never gave you any credit and kind of just lived their life and cut
they
you out.
showed up to Christmas.
It just happened without you knowing.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. The fact that she's even questioning whether she should be upset or not, to me, feels like she's a very, like, sort of, what's the word?
Self-doubting?
Yeah, like sort of a self-deprecating kind of like, she's a very nice person.
Part of the reason, I think, is because they're acting like, what's the big deal in a way? Clearly, they thought it was so little a deal that they just would show up to Christmas together. Like the lack of thought of including her or giving her a heads up is just beyond me.
At the very least, they should have at Christmas been like, surprise, we're dating, suckers. I mean, there was nothing. Just like, oh, hey, what's up? Just Christmas time.
Acknowledgement of it. Something.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is borderline psychopathic behavior.
To me, it's a little crazy. Like, I understand the brother, you know, he separated in June. The divorce was finalized a month prior. He'd been with his ex-wife for 7 years. Like he's a guy, meaning he's just more naturally not going to think of other people's feelings. But I think
nice. Good to hear Shandy advice.
All I'm saying is that it's not as crazy to me that the brother, just because he's been so distracted and maybe that he's known the best friend for so long that he's just like, whatever. But to me, it's crazy that the best friend wouldn't text her to be like, by the way, like your brother reached out and we've gone on a date.
I mean, you're
like
splitting hairs.
It's just like a girlfriend connection
splitting
thing
hairs.
There. Yeah, who knows? I guess it comes down to how close are they as brother and sister? How close are they as friends? But
how
we can
close
all
do you have to be to your sibling for them to tell you that they're dating your best friend?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm trying to give him some credit because of what he's been going through. But nonetheless, we can all agree that
I don't give him any credit.
Okay.
He gets no credit.
Yeah.
She gets no credit.
Yeah.
This is a serious crime that's been committed.
Yeah.
Serious crime. So number one, Lisa, Jessica,
M,
whatever, close, not really. You are 100% right to be pissed off, and I would venture to say you should be a lot more pissed off. I don't think you're pissed off enough from your tone.
I think she's exactly the right amount pissed off.
Okay.
And I say that because it's not like they didn't then apologize or make any effort. They did.
They didn't make effort.
No, the problem is they didn't follow up on their promised effort.
That's not effort.
Yeah.
The apology was a given.
Yeah.
If you don't apologize for that, what do you apologize for?
It's true. No, you're right. Okay, so what should she do moving forward since we have confirmed that we would both individually be as upset about this?
I think she should have, I mean, what else is there to do other than have serious sit-down talks about this with both of them?
What is annoying is that they're putting it on her. They're making her feel like she's the crazy one enough to write into a podcast about being upset about this, where she's like, should I even bring this up? Like, they haven't followed up. They should be knocking down her door. When can we make that lunch happen?
There should be edible arrangements on a daily basis showing up at her house.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is total bullshit.
Especially since, I'm just going to put this out there, if they don't work out, if they end up breaking up, you think she's not going to hear about it then?
Oh, he's going to be crying on her shoulder.
Or the
Can
friend,
you talk to your friend and see what she's thinking?
Or vice versa. Like, someone's going to break up with someone and is going to be venting to her or crying to her.
And you know what? Knowing her, and no offense, she's going to take it. And she's going to console them. But she's a nice person.
She is a nice person.
She's a trusting person. This is ridiculous to her.
Yeah.
But she's nice enough not to be losing her shit about it. But not nice enough not to write into a podcast. Which I respect.
Okay, so how should she proceed, Andy?
as I said, I'm baffled by this.
Yeah.
There's no other way to proceed. Look, you could be spiteful and vindictive and get revenge. That's ridiculous. You could start dating his best friend without telling him show up to Thanksgiving dinner and be like, aha, the two can play that game. I think there should be one heavy sit down, like a schedule. It should be like a Google Meet. Like this should be a full. This should be like in the iCal. Yes. Meet with your friend and be like, what is up? I want from the beginning to the end what you were thinking, why this happened. Same exact thing with her brother.
Yeah. And even though it's super annoying that they've put it on her to follow up on it, I think you still should.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else to talk about here.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off.
Like, hey, like you mentioned you wanted to get lunch with me. Like I've been thinking about that. Like I would still like to do that. I don't think it's necessary to be like, I'm hurt you didn't follow up on that. Like the hurt should stay around the problem for now, just so that it's not overwhelming and doesn't seem like she's overreacting. Because I already get the feeling that they think she's overreacting.
You know what this is like? This is like a simple favor that would have been given the blessing.
Yeah.
Like all he had to do was say like, hey sis, I know this is weird. I'm really bummed out. I got out of this divorce. Yeah. I'm very sad. I really need a rebound. Like I really like your friend, whoever her name is. Would you be okay with us dating? She'd be like, of course. Like I would be thrilled over the moon.
Yes.
They could have turned this into a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's like breaking into your friend's apartment when they're on vacation and hanging out there all week, eating, kicking it back on the couch, buying some, pay-per-view. And then they come back and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I figured you'd let me stay here.
Yeah,
so
like,
why do I have to ask you?
I love how as I start to like finish your thought, you're like, don't steal my thunder.
No, that was happening.
Okay. So I appreciate how worked up you're getting on this.
Angry.
Yeah.
Very angry.
I'm reminded a bit of a friend of yours.
Oh, great.
I was annoyed. You and a few of your friends met up with me and a few of my friends.
Yeah.
And everyone was chatting.
Yeah.
This is such a small version of this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because this girlfriend we're friends, but we're not like best friends. Yeah. I really like her, but we're not like talking every day level. And your friend is similar with you, I would say. You're close, a little closer.
Close enough.
And then behind both our backs, he like went to her workplace and like tried to chat her up.
Date her without telling either of us.
Yeah. And I was really, really bothered by that.
And you know what that is? That's 7 notches below how bad this is.
Because
and we were both
closeness.
Irritated by that. I less than you. Like I was
really irritated.
But it's your friend. I don't have that much investment.
Well, especially since I knew that she would not have been interested, and instead he just made her uncomfortable. Like he could have saved himself a lot of trouble.
That's true.
Anyway,
yeah. Oof.
Oh my God, we said anyway at the same time.
Yeah, that's nice.
Low bar. Okay, M. We think you should follow up on the lunch, make it happen, and they could be with them individually or them together, whichever feels better for you. Put your foot down. Stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Okay, good luck. Hopefully our reactions are very validating. Okay.
Can you believe that shit? It's unbelievable.
All right. This next question is from Liz. Dear Shandy, I, 24 female.
Oh, a lot of youngins these days.
Yeah. I wonder what that says about our demo.
Yeah, our demo's going down.
Yeah. Well, that said, we have been getting some questions, some older questions, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's been in a relationship with Michael, 53, male, for the past year. And by the way, the title of the email is In Love with a Man 28 Years Older. Oh. Michael is in an open relationship, and I have met his wife, who is close to his age, so she's not really a factor in this story.
The wife's like, hold my beer. It's like, I've been cheating on my girlfriend for 6 months, but she's not really a factor in this.
Now, before you jump to conclusions, fair, Liz, we deserve that. Let me give you a brief rundown on our relationship. We met through a kink website, certain Shandies will know the one, when I was 23 and moving to his location. And after one video call, we began meeting in person once a week for play/sex dates in my apartment, in addition to numerous extra time at his house when the wife is away and trips to kink events. We're also in constant text communication between seeing each other in person. This continued on and we developed feelings for each other beyond our kink roles, eventually telling each other that we love each other. While we still play in our kink roles, it's more of a relationship nowadays. I wouldn't call us boyfriend/girlfriend, but lovers feels like the correct term. I love Michael so much, and there's so much care and tenderness and trust between us. I never thought I could know someone so deeply and that they would know me so deeply in return. He's kind, expressive, sexy, thoughtful, fun, empathetic, easygoing, and caring. I never would have thought a relationship with a 28-year gap could work like this, but to me, we're just two souls that were meant to connect. Even people at the events we go to comment on the beauty of our connection and how happy we look together. And even my mom likes him. She's also in the kink scene.
Wow. I want to meet all these people.
Yeah. Michael is my first relationship of any sort.
Uh-oh.
He was even the first person I had sex with, and boy, am I grateful for it because he knows exactly what he's doing in bed. And here is where my question comes in. Am I wasting my youth by being with Michael? While he makes me extremely happy, I can't help but wonder if I need to be using my mid-20s to find a life partner, which is something I really want, though I don't want kids, which might be important. I know that my life partner isn't Michael because he is married and so much older. Our time is limited in numerous ways. We have discussed me being poly and to start dating while continuing to see Michael, but I worry that that will change our relationship, which is so precious to me. I also worry that dates will be put off by me seeing a much older man and having such a strong connection already. Typically in poly dating, you're already in a primary relationship while looking for a secondary relationship. While Michael isn't technically my primary, our connection puts him in that category for me. I also worry that I'll never find this connection with someone other than Michael. Maybe I should just hold on to it as long as possible until life circumstances push us apart. I feel that if I make any moves towards meeting someone else, it will be the catalyst that ends us, even though Michael has reassured me that he wants to be with me as long as I'll have him. I have never loved and been loved like this before. It would break me to lose us. Your advice will be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Liz.
So he's 53?
He's 53. She's 24.
But she calls it a 28-year age difference because that sounds better than 29. That's my favorite part. Anyway, this is a tough one, but my answer is extremely clear, and I have the unfair advantage of knowing that she's writing into a podcast. This is one of those questions. This is a you're writing into a podcast question.
Yeah.
And the answer is 100%. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going for it.
100%.
It's 100,000%.
Ooh.
I'm going for it. I rarely do it, but I'm going there.
I mean, why not just go 1,000,000% at that point?
100 million%.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah? Want me to keep going?
Okay, we get it. Okay.
You got to date. You absolutely positively cannot keep all feet into this going. No,
I agree.
You got to get out there. This is going to mess you up. Number one, I mean, a 53-year-old guy knows what he's doing, and of course he knows what he's doing in the bedroom. He's been alive for more than a half a century. It's gonna sort of skew your understanding of what guys your age have to offer. But that's totally separate. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But that is something to consider.
She could easily find someone 10 years older than her who knows what he's doing in bed.
Totally. I'm just saying that she said she lost her virginity to this guy. Which is
and this is her first
up. Relationship. Yeah, it's messed up from his perspective.
It's messed
he should have thought about that. That's a little weird.
Yeah, yes. We're not touching on, look, I know it's consensual. They met on a kink website. He's in an open marriage. You know, like there's all these things that make it all like technically okay. But I am sorry. There is something to consider there. And I don't want to use the word predatory, but I agree with you. I think it's a little crazy that they met when she was 23. She's a virgin. She's never been in a relationship. She's newly moved to his area, so she doesn't have a social network.
It's irresponsible. It's reckless on his part. It's not right. I'm not judging the look. I don't care if you're 100 years older than somebody, as long as your age of consent. Well, actually, it was a little more than age of consent. That's got to be a little buffer. But it's just this situation rubs me the wrong way because he's allowing her. He knows he took her virginity. I'm assuming he knows.
Yeah. I would assume.
I would judge.
I have a feeling that's been intertwined into all their.
Yes. And I judge heavily. And I rarely will judge.
I know.
Sexually speaking, I don't judge.
Oh my God. We go out of our way not to judge. Like, do what you got to do.
Do
like,
what you do.
Do what makes you happy.
What...
We are, and for what it's worth, Liz, we're not judging you.
No, not at all.
We're judging Michael.
Michael did something that I don't agree with. To take a girl, and I'm calling her a girl because she was a girl.
Well, she had no relationship experience. Like, she was a woman, but nonetheless.
Whatever.
Yeah.
My point, I'm making a point here.
Yeah.
She was a virgin. She had never dated anybody.
Yeah.
She had never had sex. He took her virginity. He has her first relationship. He's in a marriage that seems pretty happy, I'm going to assume, something. I don't know
Maybe
what,
the wife wants to get
assuming the wife is totally
hold
fine.
my beer.
I don't know. That's the jury's out on that one. But he's in a marriage that doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. He's certainly not giving her the idea that like, oh, I'm going to leave my wife and we're going to be together.
Yeah.
Which in that case, it might change color my opinion a little bit, but not that much. My point is he took her virginity. He put her in a situation where she was in her first relationship. He has not given her any idea that he's not interested in having this kind of like very easy relationship for him. Mm-hmm. He is totally allowing this to happen. Mm-hmm. He's committing several fouls here, which I don't approve of. And as I said, I rarely disapprove of these kind of things. I don't like what he's doing. And she is a victim here, not in like a sexual way. She's a victim in an emotional way because she is now trapped by a man who knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing with emotions.
He's got all this experience.
He's doing with relationships.
He's got experience which you cannot buy.
This is what he's doing. This is what he's doing.
Well,
and you know,
I bet you he does love her. I bet you he does care about her. I'm sure that all of the feelings are true.
He feels fondly for her. He likes the situation.
Of course.
But she is in love with him.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
Yeah.
He knows he took her virginity. He knows he's her first serious relationship.
Yeah.
He knows she loves him.
Yeah.
And he knows he's getting everything he wants.
Yeah.
And he's never going to give her all the things she wants.
Yeah.
He's committing fouls. I don't approve of this. Mm-hmm. And I think that she's doing everything right, except logistically. I think there needs to be a change.
Well, but
she needs to recognize that what he's doing, he may have all good intentions in his mind. He may think that, oh, this is great. She's happy. What's the problem?
Yeah.
But what he's doing is not something a mature adult does at that age and that position. He's not treating you with the equality that you deserve.
Yes. I think what really is lacking from her perspective in this, and I don't blame her because she doesn't have something to model it after. Like, it doesn't sound like she's getting that from people who are far older than her, and that is perspective.
Yeah.
She's with a guy who's 53. His wife is around her age, and they're all like, she's met the wife. They're all okay with it. Her mom is also in the kink scene and has met him, and so everyone's okay with it. And maybe we're being the judgmental like outsiders, but I agree with you that she's kind of like not doing anything wrong again with the information she's being given. But Liz, hopefully you listen to our reactions. And again, we go out of our way, like whatever gets your rocks off, as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Sure, yeah.
Like do what, get ball gagged, like put on.
Why does she have to get ball gagged?
Use toys. Yeah. Oh no, just
suddenly she's got to get ball gagged.
To bring back the fetish, you know what I mean?
I know, I was joking.
Like I genuinely... I'm trying to think, like when she said a kink website, I'm trying to think if there's a sugar daddy dynamic or something here. And I genuinely hope there is because I want her to be getting more out of this than what on paper it looks like she is. I don't think she realizes how much she's losing.
This is stunting her. This is freezing her.
Yes.
She is not developing in the way she needs to develop.
Yeah.
She's not meeting people. She may have already missed her next serious, wonderful boyfriend who's not married and 30 years older than her.
Yes, and who might not know exactly what he's doing in bed, but that could be something that they explore together.
Yeah, they learn together.
Yes.
That's what you do at that age.
Yes.
You learn.
I remember when I was still in high school and I like had my high school boyfriend, we got like naked together for the first time. Like we were both like, oh,
it's exciting.
Yeah, it was
He's taken all that from her. She's not going to have that development now, but she can cut this off and start again, and she should be okay. But if she doesn't do it now, if she waits years, this is going to become a bigger and bigger problem. I'm very concerned. And look, I don't care if the whole family, I don't care if the president of the United States condones this relationship.
Yeah.
That means nothing to me. I don't care that her mother, who's into kink, loves this relationship.
Yeah.
This means nothing to me.
Yeah.
It's her. It's you. You are not experiencing what you should be experiencing, and he doesn't care. He is totally happy to keep just taking
I
and
don't
taking.
want to necessarily say that he doesn't care. And it sounds like he's saying, you can go out and date. They've discussed her being poly while continuing to see him. So I don't want to make it sound like he's the devil.
He's not the devil.
Because it is consensual. She's
reckless.
into this.
He's not the devil.
Reckless.
He's being reckless, and he's not reflecting his age and his maturity of how to handle these situations. He's dealing with a girl who could literally be his granddaughter. Literally. Yeah, you're doing the math. She could totally be his granddaughter.
It's unlikely.
Possible.
Yeah, but
it's biologically
certainly daughter
possible.
on a very safely
Easily daughter.
Yeah, yes.
And biologically for sure a granddaughter. And he is enjoying himself a lot. And he's enjoyed himself. So he's been at that well for a long time, enjoying himself.
This has been going on, yeah.
And he needs to make the decision, but she certainly is not going to do it. And he knows he's not leaving his wife for her. He knows that this is not a lifetime relationship.
Well, and she says, too, that she knows that he isn't her life partner. Okay, so let's get to the advice part, because I don't want to sound like... I imagine... And people... Okay, this is what I think is going to happen. I think the Shandys who are not Liz... are going to agree with us. And I have a feeling Liz is going to hear this and think we're being judgmental and that we don't understand.
No, I understand fully. I understand this fully.
Yeah.
I understand this very well.
Well, no one who's not in the relationship, no one who's not one of the two people in a relationship knows fully what's going on in that relationship. And I do believe she went out of her way to make much of this email about how special their connection is.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that this is a wonderful relationship for her if there was a future to it.
Yeah.
I believe that in the moment to moment, this is a wonderful situation. She's having fun. She loves him genuinely. I don't think it's polluted. I think it's good. She loves him. It's pure love.
Yeah.
But from his perspective, he's getting everything. And he's not taking any risks here, especially since
his wife,
theoretically, his wife doesn't give a shit.
I believe, because she said she met the wife. I believe that they do have an open relationship and everything. But think about it, they're around 53, or the wife is around his age. They've been married for many years. Like, they've reached a point in their relationship where they're open to this kind of thing, and this is, something they can explore, maybe separately or together, who knows how much. But for Liz, it's like, this is her normal. She hasn't reached a point where she's like, this is... Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If she had dated guys for 10 years and had long relationships, I mean, that would have been, she would have been really young. But then I'd be like, you know what? Okay.
Okay. So let's get to the advice part.
The advice is you need to take a break from this. You need to take a break and be 24.
Yeah.
And date guys that are, eligible, who actually you could spend a life with. Or girls, I don't know what she's into, whatever you want to date. Date a human being who's a potential viable long-term situation that's on an even playing field. You have to take a break from this. I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm not saying you have to cut this guy off completely and ghost him. You can still, send nice texts and say, how you doing? How's whatever, your wife or whatever, some weird shit. But you have to take a break. No sex, no meeting up, no emotional, relationship kind of talk. You have to take a break. I'm telling you, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. It's for your own good. Trust me, you need to take a break and live your life.
It's, the thing she kept coming back to, she's interested in exploring as long as this stays intact, but she doesn't want to ruin this. She's afraid to even date other people.
That's because
she's worried it's going to affect what she has with him.
That's what I'm saying. It's messed up.
Yeah, it feels sort of like a drug. I think that it's going to be very hard for her to quit cold turkey. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because she's skipping a lot of steps.
It's going to be extremely hard. Yeah. I'm not saying this is going to be easy. You're chemically bonded with this guy. There's a real problem here, especially since he was your first. I mean, there's a real problem here.
Yeah. The fact that she was a virgin and had no relationship experience, she kind of threw that in there in passing, but I'm really focused on that too.
I got to be honest, I'm still judging. That's not cool.
Of him.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I mean, they met on a kink website. It's consensual. I'm sure that, I agree with you on all fronts. Trust me. I think it's so interesting that when I said her age at the top of this email, you're like, oh, wow, a lot of youngins today.
Yeah.
It's like before you even knew what the email. Yeah. as usual, I want to have slightly softer advice because first of all, I 100% agree with you. I think that if we're looking out just for her and what would be the best for her life trajectory, it would be to love this for what it was. Definitely take away how you want to be treated. You now know what you want in bed. Like there's so many beautiful things here that you learned about yourself that you can now apply to dating in real life. And you have the self-worth that comes with that too. You know, like you know how it feels to feel valued and blah, 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 blah. All of these lovely things. Yeah. And you kind of want to cut your losses at a certain point, hopefully sooner than later. And so what I want to do is give like softer advice, which is like, okay, keep your relationship going, but really get out of the gray zone where you're so committed to him and he's openly not fully committed to you, even though he tells you he's in love with you, all that stuff. And date other people just so you can like get your feet wet and see what else is out there. But I agree with you more in that I think it's going to be tough for her to not compare every 25 to 30-year-old she goes on a date with who, you know, isn't pulling out her chair and isn't paying for dinner and doesn't know how to go down on her and doesn't text back in time. Like, you know, is probably your average 20-something guy dating. She's going to compare every single behavioral thing that he does to this guy.
And you know what unfortunately, she's got to re-educate herself. She's got to do a whole process.
And that doesn't mean lower standards.
No, she's got to readjust. Like, I'm not saying she has to exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm not saying that at all. She has to shift the paradigm.
Yeah.
She has to literally start over again as a 24-year-old doing the things that, and I'm not saying the things a 24-year-old should do. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to date 24-year-old guys. You can date 50-year-old guys, just guys who are available, not married, and actually might want to have a life with you. Maybe not 50, maybe a little less. But my point is I'm not saying you have to be a kid. I'm just saying you have to start from the beginning. You now had this crazy experience that was extremely, hot, extremely hot.
Sorry, I'll finish your thought. Sorry, I was interrupting.
I'm just saying, take that for what it is. It's a timepiece. It's a moment in time. It's an experience. You had it. It's going to shape the rest of your life probably for
more
better or worse.
More than you even know. Yeah. I think this is shaping her more than she knows.
Oh, more than she knows.
Yes.
What I'm saying is you need to now set that aside. Okay, I had that experience and now I'm going to be 24. You don't have to cut him out as a human being, but you have to stop this relationship and start being yourself again. Because I'm telling you, this is gonna permanently damage you.
You made a great point. Start being herself again. Like, it's so easy at that age. Like, look, I considered myself a pretty mature 23, 24-year-old. I would not be able to not be changed by this experience, spending time with someone so much older in this dynamic where it's totally normalized that I'm this other woman. I'm going to see you once a week and you're going to take a lot of firsts from me. Yeah. And I'm willing, so it's all okay. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, there are just little ways in which she's being changed by this in ways like that she doesn't even know yet, honestly. But there was one other thing I wanted to touch on when you talked about how this is hot, right? Like, it's hot for her, it's hot for him. It's very sexually driven, this entire dynamic. Were they really gonna, like, they've fallen in love with each other because of the sex? Let's be real here.
Of course.
That's key to understand. And she doesn't have any relationship experience or sex experience. So it's like she doesn't necessarily know that. But just like we've gotten another question, there was a 25-year age difference. This was a Q&A. I'll link it here. Yeah. And the big difference there was that this woman was, I think, 30, between 30 and 35. Yeah. And the guy was 25 years older. And our big focus there was totally different, by the way. Totally was more on the timelines. Like, you can totally fall in love with and marry someone 25 years older. In this case, they were both single and they were committed to each other. Absolutely. But it was more like, think about what the tail end of your life looks like. Sure. You know, you just sort of accepting that or coming to terms with it.
And she was struggling with that. Yes. It wasn't like we brought that up like, well, are you thinking about how old he's going to be when you're 50? Like, we didn't do that. Yeah, no. She asked us.
Totally. So the main reason I brought that up is to show that we're focusing on different things. So it's not just like we're like, oh, a 20 plus year age difference is always wrong, which is so not how we feel. But similarly to that other one, it was very sexually driven. Yeah. That woman, it was the first good sex she'd ever had.
And you know what the difference was? You know what the difference was?
What?
That guy said, I don't think this is great for you. I think you should go find someone else. He had the maturity and the decency to do that.
Yeah.
This guy is happy to just keep milking this for as long as he can.
Yeah. Well, he says you should date, he's open to her dating other people.
Big. Yeah. Oh, he's open to her dating other people.
Anyway, my point being, we can't underestimate how much hotness, this amazing sex, you having all these like sexual epiphanies with one person is going to change how you view them and charge how in love with them you become. And in this case, I'm sorry, this sex is a big part of this. It's a huge part of why she's in love with him and why he's in love with her and why they care for each other and all this stuff. Like, don't confuse the two. Like, great sex is great sex. And you're going to find if you exit this relationship and get to experience more things you should be experiencing at 24, is that great sex can often come when you hate the person.
Yes.
So I agree with you completely. Even though I want to be like, dip your toe in, date other people. I ultimately think... Yes, this should be cut.
And I also think you can turn lemons into lemonade here. Not that this is lemons. I know you have a great thing here in your mind. And objectively, maybe it is a great thing in the moment. Mm-hmm. But you can make this a superpower. You can, instead of letting this stunt you and really damage your trajectory in life on your own, you can actually be like, I have so much experience. Sexually, relationship, emotionally, like I have all this stuff. Let me use it in my new relationships now that are more functional and more appropriate. Let me curate
what I want the people I spend my time with to look like and what the sex we have looks like and all that stuff.
He gave you a crash course. Like you are highly educated in the sex and relationship department, at least in certain areas, but probably a lot of areas. Use it. But don't let it use you. That's what's happening now. You could let this drag on for 10 years. What's going to happen when you're 35 and he's, hold on a second, 64? Well, 63 according to her.
Well, we all know how those months can, misalign.
We do.
I imagine it is a 28-year difference.
Anyway, enough. End it tomorrow. Be nice about it. This isn't a mean thing. This isn't like, don't ever call me again. No, this is a very close friend of yours. He's an important person in your life. Keep him around, but stop the relationship stuff and start spreading your wings and doing your own thing. This is not your thing. This is his thing. You need to do your thing.
That was a great point at the end there, Auntie.
Thank you.
I'm worried that this is going to come off sounding like we're like, oh, you're only 24.
I'm not worried.
You don't know.
I'm not worried because we expressed that caveat many times.
Okay.
We didn't even have to.
Yeah.
We did it because we were worried. Now we don't have to say we're worried. Because I'm not worried. I know I'm right about this. You're right. I'm right. We're right. Do this now. Don't wait. Period. No judging. I don't care who's going to judge us on this. This is bullshit.
I think this is going to be really hard. And I don't want to sound like I don't believe in her, but this based on the email and how in love she is or believes she is. And, she says this is the most precious thing to her. That's the thing. This shouldn't be the most precious thing to her. She sees him once a week. She sees him once a week for sex / play dates. This should not, most importantly, this is the thing I'm most afraid of, is that Saturday night, Friday night, whatever, once a week that she goes and she spends the whole week looking forward to it, I'm sure. That's a night that she's not going out with her girlfriends, possibly meeting someone else, possibly going on a date with someone she swiped right on, just living.
Of course.
Living and seeing what else is out there. You don't know who you might be meeting while you're over at his place.
Of course. There's probably been already a lot of misses.
Think about how we met. Think about how unlikely that was. Yeah.
You had to be out there.
If you had instead chosen to sleep with the sure thing, so-called sure thing, what you believe to have been a sure thing, a sure-ish thing, if you had stuck with comfort over going out and just seeing what else is out there.
I wouldn't have a podcast right now. Most importantly.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to add one last thing.
Yeah.
And
then I swear we'll wrap this one. Yes.
It'll be very interesting to see how he reacts to you breaking ties. Very interesting and very telling. If he's very resistant to it, that gives you a lot of information about him as a person.
Yeah, because that would make him different from the guy from the other Q&A question who really felt that he really felt that he was taking something from her. And as much as he loved her enough to see that, to recognize that, and to say you should really cut ties and date someone else who you can have a life with. If he shows any
resistance, any meaningful resistance, you know who he is. That'll give you comfort.
Ooh, oh man. Okay. Liz, good luck. You are going to need it.
You need it.
I don't know if you're going to take her advice, and I strongly feel you're not. I normally am like, good luck. Like, hopefully you take her advice. I really hope you do, but I don't think she's going to take our advice.
I'm insisting you take our advice.
Yeah.
I won't take no for an answer.
Okay, good luck. You may hate us now, but I genuinely, our answer is coming from a place of what's best for you. And yes.
We care about our clients.
Good luck. I do think she probably hates us now.
That's the easiest question to answer we've ever had in the whole history of the podcast.
Wow. I mean, I'm pretty black and white on that one.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That guy.
She's in a special kind of gray area. Yeah, and she would probably say that you're wrong. He's not a dick. He loves me.
He is a dick. It doesn't matter. He could be totally like everything he's doing is in the goodness of his heart. He's like, oh, I'm so nice to her. We have such a nice time together.
Yeah.
I give her good advice. I cherish her.
Yeah.
I love her like a daughter, or a granddaughter. And meanwhile, he is a bad person. Because you shouldn't be doing that.
I genuinely hope that it's a sugar daddy situation, but in which case she should have shared that with us.
Yes.
And not from a judgy point, like from like, I hope you're getting...
And a lucrative sugar daddy.
Yeah, like I hope
bank.
you are like paying your college tuition with that. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Moving on.
So Charlene.
Andy?
These days, what would you say is the number one reason why you choose to transact with a new business?
Their website.
Thank you. All right, we're done here.
We are clearly talking about Squarespace right now. Certainly you should have heard of Squarespace. It's hard to imagine anyone wouldn't know it.
I feel like it's almost the Kleenex of tissue at this point.
The Kleenex of website design.
Oh, right.
But seriously, Squarespace is the destination for a beautiful website when you know little to nothing, honestly, about making a website or how to put one together. It really just is your one-stop shop.
If I was building a new website, which we do sometimes, I would say to myself, is there anything that they don't give me that I may need?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, wait.
We know what you mean.
Okay.
Squarespace really does have all the bells and whistles. So we're talking everything like from the basics, like a blog, analytics, email campaigns, connecting your social media accounts easily. Like they do all of that, but also going way further too. So things like checkout, e-commerce, appointment scheduling, or galleries. Like they have everything you could possibly need, regardless of what the service you're providing is.
Yeah, and can we talk about how nice their designs are?
So nice.
I
care about these things. I like a nice template. I like a nice website. I cannot deny it.
And not everyone's an artist. Not everyone has an aesthetic talent. I want them to hold my hand with the design.
And you can even search through their templates by filtering what your business is. So the main ones you'll see first have already been designed with your business type in mind.
So head to squarespace.com/Shandy for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Shandy for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Again, that's squarespace.com/Shandy for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Shandy for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain.
So Charlene,
yes,
we are in a new place,
yes,
in a new home, with a new bed,
yeah,
with new sheets.
yeah. Then we don't like the sheets here.
No,
They're bad.
the sheets are bad. But they're not bad. They're just sheets.
Yeah, they're not cozy earth sheets. We miss our cozy earth sheets at home.
We do.
They're you know what? They're sheets for all seasons. I find it, especially in winter, it's tricky because you want to be kept warm, but you also don't want to be clammy. You don't want to get sweaty. And you know, there's heat on in the place because it's so cold out. So you often end up getting sweaty. What I love about Cozy Earth sheets is that they're both cozy and super soft, but they're also cooling. So you don't have to switch out your sheets depending on the season.
Winter, spring, summer, fall. You know what cozy sheets are? What? They're like amber vision glasses. It's bright, you're good. It's dark, you're good. They're great all year round.
It's a jack of all trades. And hopefully you know by now that Cozy Earth bedding is made from highly sustainable bamboo.
And it also is amazing. How does bamboo, one of the hardest natural substances on earth, become so luxuriously soft?
And yet durable. It's so
durable.
Like, I'm going to be honest, Andy has torn many a sheet. It's always you.
Yeah, I've got a sharp toenail.
Yeah. like a knife,
Yeah.
or you're like kicking a lot.
I'm always
I
kicking.
will say this, since I've known Andy, we have had to get rid of many a fitted sheet because of a hole that you had ripped through it.
Cozy never rips.
It has no.
This is pissing me off.
Yeah.
Cozy Earth is pissing me off.
There's nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, it's like one of the, it's like the homecoming king and queen. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, you're so perfect. Great. So save 35% now on Cozy Earth.
But hurry, this New Year's offer ends soon. Go to cozyearth.com/Shandy and use promo code Shandy at checkout to save 35%.
That's cozyearth.com/Shandy.
All right, this next question is from Anonymous. Dear Shandy, I have been a longtime fan of you, Charlene, since your Flair recaps and all the Pretty Pandas posts. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you so much for making this podcast, and I love the banter between you and Andy. There. Dear Shandy has never failed to make me laugh, and I've learned a lot from this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I love is the title was "Will take 2 minutes and 5 seconds to read." By the way, that's become a trend
That's a new
since
thing.
that happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
Isn't that so cute? I just love the idea of people reading their own
Me
questions
too, yeah.
aloud.
With a
and
timer.
timing it.
Like, stop.
My question is it normal to feel sad that an ex who I am now friends with has moved on, or is it a sign that I should cut off communication? Some background. I am 27 female and my ex is 33 male, and we have known each other for 3 years now and have dated for a year and a half. We broke up 8 months ago due to differences in religion, culture, and where we wanted to live. Our breakup was very painful for me because it was based on logistics and not character flaws in the other person. We decided to be friends, and 3 months ago we started talking again more consistently. Communication every day or every few days. My ex has recently started seeing someone, and I can sense that he is pulling away, which is understandable. I have also been going on dates, but I have not found anyone that I connect with. I can't help but feel sad and jealous that it has brought me back to the sadness I felt when we broke up. Is this normal, and should I just give it time, or does it mean that I still have an emotional charge towards my ex and a friendship is not in the cards for us? If so, should I cut off all communication? Best regards, Anonymous. That's tough.
Part of life. It's part of life.
Yeah, one of you is going to move on before the other does.
Yeah, it's part
and it
of
never
life.
feels good. Even honestly, I think even if you're fully over the person, it still doesn't feel good.
It never feels good. It takes many years for that to
Years,
eventually
not 3
feel
months.
good. Yep.
I totally agree.
Not 3 months. In life, I have several girlfriends now that were serious girlfriends, and they are some of the dearest friends I have on earth.
Yeah.
I love them dearly. And it took me, for each one of them, it took me a while. Even when I was in a happy relationship after.
Yeah.
I was still like,
I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
It feels a little
Even-
dirty.
I was totally content. And I was still like, not
It's kind
that
of
happy
like,
for you.
You know, it's so true. It's almost like you get like a rash and you're like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
Like
it feels weird. It feels unnatural.
Yeah, even though you know it's not hurting you and like it's going to go away. Like you're still just like, why does that bother me?
Yeah. Did I need to cut off communication with all my girlfriends after they started dating somebody else?
Yeah.
No. That would be ridiculous.
Well,
that's not an adult thing to do.
I think she should just let this back off the way he has let it back
Yeah.
off. But that doesn't mean don't talk to each other.
No.
But I wouldn't overestimate those feelings of sadness for being like, oh, I'm still really into him.
Yeah.
Because one thing that you
No.
really should spend that energy on is focusing on why you ended things. And she said that it wasn't because of like character flaws and more logistics, but to me, differences in religion and culture
No.
and where you want to live. You know, I think where you want to live is logistical, but
Yeah.
religion and culture, those are complicated things.
Yeah.
Like you should really focus on why you guys ended things. That's not something to
Those are deal breakers.
sweep under the rug.
Often just deal
Yes.
breakers. Yeah.
Religion and culture, like
Yeah.
those are massive.
It's a lot. I will
You broke up for a good reason is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And I will say this, ask yourself, do I value this person as a friend? Is this someone I want to have as a friend for many years or my whole life? And if the answer is yes, 100%, do not cut off ties. Don't do anything rash. Back off the same way he's backing off. Give him the breathing room that he needs. Give yourself the breathing room that you need, but do not cut ties. This is part of life.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're going to probably date more guys and you're going to break up and they're going to meet someone else and you're going to be confused and feel a little weird. You just got to deal with it and you'll be happy in the end. Absolutely not. Do not break ties unless you have deep and troubling emotional and love ties to this person.
Love ties.
I wanted to say sex, but I didn't think that was appropriate.
I think some people, and I can say this because I have been this person, they kind of try to rush to the let's be friends part. It's like we ended things, but it's too painful to imagine not having you in my life. So we'll even though we're both not 100% ready, again, it can take years to really get to that point where you're totally unaffected by the person
maybe
seriously dating someone new. You skip ahead to like, let's be friends because that seems like the mature, like you know, in my case, I wanted to be that cool person that could be friends with their ex, but you know, we both are friends with exes. Yeah. We're not friends with all of our exes.
No.
I'm only friends with a couple of exes.
Yeah.
And really, I would say truly friends with where like we text regularly, one. And
I'm friends with the exes I wanted to be friends with.
Yes. And so you're making a good point. Anonymous should ask herself, if, you know, this is a friendship that he is valuable to her as a human in her life, but not that she's trying to like push ahead to being friends just because she doesn't want to lose him in her life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're separate.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm with you.
Sorry if that.
I think we're saying the same thing in different ways. It's just that you need to give a lot of breathing room to these transitions. It just doesn't happen overnight. You have to let it breathe. I'm telling you, honestly, me and Margie, I don't know if we really solidified our lifelong friendship, like really, like without any impurities.
Yeah.
Up until maybe like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like really solid.
Which was how many years after you broke up the second time?
Over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we needed over 10 years and we are unbelievably close friends now. And I'm so happy I kept it. But if your relationship was formed based mainly on a tight friendship, and let's be honest, relationships, marriages, whatever you want to call them, they're really, you're friends.
Yeah.
And you have sex.
Yeah.
But the key thing is the friendship.
Yeah.
Always. That's the critical thing. You can have a sexless marriage for 25 years.
Yeah.
As long as you're great friends and you love doing things together, you're fine.
Yeah. And you're both happy not having sex.
Yeah. If you're both happy, right. As long as not one person's like, what the fuck? But
that caveat.
As long as the friendship is the basis for the relationship, give it the breathing room it needs, give it some space, and do not cut ties. That's just rash. Do not do that.
Yeah, I think she was more like, I think she's trying to protect herself, which is totally fine. But hopefully Anonymous hearing us talk about this makes you realize that 3 months, that's awfully ambitious to think that after 3 months, you're not going to have any kind of emotional reaction to your ex who you've decided to stay in touch with and text almost every day.
Yeah.
That you're not going to be affected by him dating someone else. Like I want to be that person when I grow up. I am not that person.
No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
Unless they really didn't like the person that much to begin with.
Yeah.
In which case, why are you friends with them?
Yeah. She's just human.
She's human. This happens to everybody. My one caveat here is that if you're lying to yourself, which we don't know, and if you really have deep feelings for this guy and you really aren't close to over him, that's a different story. But that's not what you're telling us.
No, and we can't answer that for you. I just hope that she's getting out there and dating. Instead of reading into your emotions around this and thinking, does it mean I'm still like hung up on him? Instead, I would use it as an impetus to make sure that you're putting yourself out there. Yeah. And even if you're not trying to date, like that you see friends more and that you're just pumping more life into the rest of your circle, your social circle. It's like he's moving on with his life. Hopefully you are too, that kind of stuff.
Start thinking of it as like a nice memory that actually, lucky enough, has a future. You guys are going to be friends probably. That's nice. That's great. I was meant to be friends with some of my exes. We have great friendships. We didn't have great relationships. I'm lucky to have had the relationship to get the friendship.
Okay, before we wrap, can I bring up a Sex and the City episode?
Oh no. Has this basically become a meta Sex in the City?
No, it's just there really is an episode for everything, but it's not really the focal point of the episode. It's more so that there's an episode where Charlotte says that she had heard once or read once that it takes half the time you dated or were in the relationship to get over the person. So let's say you dated for 2 years, it'll take 1 year to get over that person.
Oh, I agree with that. That's not a maybe that did start with Sex in the City, but I've heard that for my whole life.
I mean, I think that's a nice approximate barometer for it. You know, it's a little ambitious to think you could date for many years and get over it in a couple of months.
You can't.
But I actually think that's on the low end in terms of look, not in the low end in terms of meeting someone new and moving on with your life, but on the low end for not caring when your ex starts dating someone else seriously.
Everyone does. It's human. It's human.
Yeah. They were dating for a year and a half. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes her at least a year and a half to fully not give a rat's ass when he starts dating someone serious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's no different than if you live in the same home for 25 years and you sell that home and you go move somewhere else and then you drive by and you see another family living in your home.
Oh, that tugs at all the heartstrings, your childhood home.
Your childhood home. It doesn't make sense though. It's like this family's not doing anything wrong. Like you don't need that.
Yeah,
You're not living there anymore.
Yeah,
it's not a museum.
But you still feel like that's mine.
It's mine. It's a violation. It's a very minor violation.
Yeah.
And that's human.
It's like I was there first.
Yeah. Yes.
There's something kind of...
You actually weren't there first, unless you built the house. There's another family that feels badly about you being there as a child.
See, that, to me, that's just objectively funny. I don't think I happen to find that funnier than the next person.
No, I think that was objectively funny.
Okay. Anonymous, good luck. I don't think you need it. I think you might be overthinking this one a bit, but 3 months is not a long time. Like, don't blame yourself.
No, that's very short.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck. And I think that's a wrap then, Andy.
That's it.
For this Q&A.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram, and
TikTok,
leave us Apple and
Spotify
podcast ratings and reviews, and generally do all of the things that you would do to support a podcast that answers your questions.
And no one's listening now. So no one's going to do any of those things.
No,
we have to do this at the top.
I know.
We got to do
I
this.
always
Is anyone
forget.
listening?
No.
Hello? Is anyone listening anymore?
Please
No.
do
They
those
all
things.
stopped.
No, here's
as
the
soon
thing.
as we said that's a wrap.
The kind of
that's
person,
it.
the kind of person that's still listening is the kind of person that's already subscribed and liked and followed us.
We're just preaching to the choir.
And left us a
we got to
review.
do it at the top.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, but do all the things she said. If you haven't done it yet, that would be nice.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.